I've been realizing more and more how important it is to throw away the rule book when you're on the frontier of a new technology or a new industry or disrupted technology. And right now with AI and the internet and the ability to self-publish and our interconnectedness on the internet and all of the social media platforms, we're going to live the rest of our life inside of this disruption. It's just the time period that we chose. We're going to be constantly battling. Like, I'm constantly battling this old story inside of myself, but also externally, that you have to go through these proper channels and you have to follow how it's been done before. But that's a load of crap. Like a total load of crap. And I think that, I'm not positive because I haven't looked into it, but I think this is basically for every industry across the board. I think the rule book is getting thrown out. I think the gatekeepers are dead, and most of us just don't know it. The gates are wide open. You can do whatever you want, and you can get in touch with your customer base directly through social media. Literally all of the departments of these major music labels or publishing houses or, wherever, the doors are wide open. The gatekeepers are dead. Now, is it going to take a lot of work for you to be the marketing department and the promotions department and the tech department and the editing department and the art department? Yeah. Now, AI speeds this up a lot, and you have all of the information you need for free at your fingertips on the internet. But yeah, it is going to take some work. It's going to take some doing. But if you really want it, if you have an idea in your head that won't leave you alone, if you know that you're meant to birth forth something into this world, and I use the word birth very strategically because, the birthing process is messy. Like, the physical birthing process is messy and it hurts and it's a lot of work. And once you go through that portal, there's not really a whole lot of good ways to stop the birth. So it's not for the faint of heart. I'm not saying that everybody needs to go through this, but if you are listening still right now, like if you're still listening to me, you're an artist and you know it and you're ready to burst something out, but you're terrified. Beautiful. Terrified is a beautiful place to start from. Because terrified isn't really you necessarily. Could be partly you. There's a lot of trickster energy that happens that's going to tell you, if you do this, you're going to be a failure. Everybody's going to talk about you. So what, right? If you can get through your own personal terror of this, there's actually genetic terror underneath that. Survival terror. Because our ancestors didn't move this fast. No freaking way. The technology, the way that we have basically accelerated productivity and creativity, even in the last 10 years, would have been unheard of before. The pace and breadth of that, right? Maybe you would have had better paintbrushes as a painter, or you would have gotten printing as a poet, so you didn't have to handwrite every copy of your book. But this pace, the amount of people we have access to, the amount of speed we have access to, it's like we all got a race car and we're used to driving a horse and carriage. So your ancestral DNA, right, is going to tell you this is dangerous. You're going to fly off the cliff. And that part you do have to get control of. You know, the way that I do it is with like dream work, meditation. I used to do ketamine. I've laid off the ketamine because I don't need that like extreme of an experience anymore. But it was super helpful when I did need it. But you've got to get your mind straight. You've got to get control of the racing thoughts. Maybe it is ADHD. I'm not going to like sit here and try to like litigate diagnosis. But I think ADHD is your mind is a freaking Ferrari and you have not figured out how to tame it. It's a superpower, y'all. Stop letting them put you on medicine. It's a freaking superpower to have ADHD. You can hold tons of variables in your head, but you've got to train it. It's a wild horse right now, and you're letting it go and do whatever it wants, right? But if you, and this is somebody who has ADHD, okay? But if you want to train your mind, you're going to have to put in the time and effort to do that. Just like training a horse, it doesn't come for free. But man, once you do, holding all these variables of being the marketing department and the agent and the cheerleader and the tech person, holding all those variables are actually not that hard. I hold them in my head, no problem. Because I actually have a problem worthy of the brain power that I have up here. I'm not flailing, going and doing laundry and then picking dirt out of the windowsill. I used to do that, right? I used to get distracted. That was my fear. That was my trickster energy that I got a hold of. And again, this is not for everyone, okay? Like if this doesn't resonate with you, throw it away. Stop watching. It's all good. I'm telling you how I'm going to disrupt the publishing industry. Because it is ripe for disruption. I mean, a lot of the books that get put out there by these big publishing houses are garbage. Somebody's famous, reality star, whatever, has nothing good to say, has nothing in their head. They're just like parroting, right? So beautiful. The old story is so bad. We can build a new one easily and get people on board with the new story. A couple of the things that I've been running into as you approach this a new frontier, whatever it is, music industry, art industry, I'm in poetry, whatever your art is, it's a brand new world, I promise you. But one of the things that is really helping me is to throw away the rule book and to not associate with people who want to keep following the rule book as like a safety blanket, right? Like that safety blanket feels good, but it's like tattered all to hell. And they're waving it around like it's going to keep them safe. And it's not. Like I've been interviewing editors this week, and the biggest thing for me with editors is they have to be excited about the work and they have to be willing to throw away the rule book. If you're going to bring me old rules of you have to go through a publishing house, it's too hard, you don't have a degree in poetry, if you're going to bring me all these old rules for how the publishing houses graded and chose authors, we're not going to work. Don't keep those people in your life. Don't keep them in your life. You can keep them from afar. You don't have to be a jerk about it, right? But those people are going to hold you back because they're stuck in the spell of scarcity. They're stuck in the old spell and they haven't learned how to unspell themselves from it yet. Probably because they've been defeated by the old spell. A lot of people, when they get defeated and they fail in this old spell, they want to see you fail in the old spell because they don't want to accept the fact that it was their fault. I know that's harsh, but it's their fault. You choose to press your art into this world, or you choose to not press your art into this world. And yes, you do have to be freaking a dog with a bone. You gotta be stubborn as hell. Every single artist that I've listened to, and I've listened to now hundreds of artists talk about how they got their start, they are stubborn as hell. And you have to do the same thing if you really want to be an artist. So don't let these people who have failed try to sell you on their failure so that they can feel better. Ugh. Get them out of your life immediately, because it's hard enough to hold this vibration on my own. Completely honestly. Like, there are mid parts of the day where I'm like, what am I doing? And I have my own trickster energy inside of me. I've got my own critic inside of me. I don't need external critics on top of that. It's super hard to hold your vibrations. You got to get those people out of your life. You only want people cheering you on, giving you positive feedback. You know, like, they don't have to know exactly what you're doing, but you want them in your corner talking to you with positivity and talking behind your back with positivity. The energy of the people in your life does actually matter, because it takes a lot of effort to combat the opposite energy. Like, even if they're talking behind your back and you know it, like you know it, even if you haven't heard that they've been doing that, you know they're talking behind your back. Get them out of your life. Get them out. Get them out. Again, you don't have to be a jerk about it. Just stop responding. You're busy. You're birthing something into the world. Can you imagine if we came to a pregnant lady in the middle of labor and we're like, you're not being a good friend. I need you to spend more time with me. What are you doing? You're doing it wrong. Ew, have you seen how she's giving birth? What if we treated pregnant women like that? It's the same thing when you're birthing out art. So get those people out of your life. They're not your cheerleaders. Get them out. I think too, one thing is when you're watching the energy of people that are in your life, you can see this forlorn type of energy, this defeatist type of energy. And they use language. Like, I had somebody who was teaching a class on being successful in socials tell me that books are a labor of love, that they're only successful if you are famous. I can think of about 10 examples where that's actually BS, but I got her out of my life immediately, because this woman has failed in her own book and is trying to sell me on the spell that only famous people, this is her excuse, only famous people ever have successful books. That's an excuse that she has laid on top of the failure of her book. I am not accepting that excuse. First of all, I can give you examples of people who have been very successful without being famous at a time. And second of all, I'm not going to be sold on your trickster's little excuse for your failure. Get her out of my life, right? Learned a lot from her, love her, wish her well. Maybe I'll see you on the other side. But right now, your energy is not what I want from my book. Not what I want in the middle of my labor. I don't want somebody telling me, well, you know, the baby's going to come out stillborn. That's such a bizarre thing. When you think about it from the birthing process, it's a really bizarre thing what we say to artists. But really, it's just the other person's failure, and they're really trying to sell you on it. The other phrases that I hear a lot, this is very difficult. No, it's not. It's actually not that difficult. I'm actually having a ton of fun. Like, doing all this stuff, learning all this stuff, it's fun. You can make it fun. If you make it difficult, it's going to be difficult. It's all about your mindset. Learning all of this is a blast. I'm learning how to take down the system from the inside. That is fun. Super fun. And if it's fun to you too, make it fun. It doesn't have to be difficult. You need X, Y, or Z in order to do your, whatever it is, your art, your book. You need an agent. You need this. No, you actually don't need anything. The only thing I'm hiring for my book is an editor. And the reason I want to hire an editor is that I have a hard time bringing objectivity to my book because I'm so close to it, right? But that's it. That's the only person I've hired. I did my own cover art. I've done, I've taught myself how to work in InDesign, all online. I didn't pay for any of this. I paid for InDesign, but I didn't pay for any classes to learn InDesign. Just learned it online. It's amazing. It's free. So you don't need anything at all. It can actually all be you. So don't let anybody sell you on that concept. Again, it's an excuse for their own failures. Yeah. I think basically you just need to be on the lookout for old spells. In yourself first, right? The self, if there's somebody that's going to trip me up in any one day, the likelihood is it's me that's going to trip me up. I just don't want to add any more variables in, as in other people in, that can trip me up too, right? So keep your environment clean. Keep the birthing room clean. You don't want your cousin in there that's like a bitch, that's like not rooting you on in your birthing room. Keep your birthing room super clean. The people that have access to you during that time, it is a privilege for them to have access to you during that time. And you need people in your corner. I'll finish with this. And, I think that, basically when you're blazing with a new path, when you're on the frontier of something, I think a lot about the frontiersmen that settled the West and how when they left the East, people must have thought they were nuts. You're going to go in a covered wagon and fight off Indians to go get 40 acres in this random place we've never heard of. It sounds nuts, right? You're going to sound nuts. You might even sound nuts to your family. You might sound nuts to your best friends. That is okay, because not all of us are here to be frontiersmen. But if you are, and you're an artist, and you're ready to make this next step, the rewards of being in this new frontier, of really pushing something out into it, are going to be amazing. And we don't have the same dangers, like we're not going to get dysentery and die. It's like the worst that could happen is that you fail and you go get a regular job after this. So what? That's nothing. That's nothing. I'll take that risk all day long. So, it's really kind of amazing. The risk is pretty low. The opportunity is really high. So if you're into it, I think you should do it. And I'll keep posting about my journey here and give you little Easter eggs and breadcrumb droppings along the way so that we can help each other, Like, I don't believe in doing this whole thing just for me. I want there to be tons of artists disrupting the old story, because it's time. This old story stinks. I don't even need to talk about how much it stinks, because we're going to build a new one, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Love you guys so much. Mwah!